That's right.
We streamed the entire Game Fest, Summer Game Fest. So now this is just the aftermath. Let's get it.
We have a downed spacecraft.
I want what's on that ship.
We can do it. We're fast, we're strong, we don't break.
Like a zoo, but the animals got out.
This ship collected 5 different life forms from the darkest corners of the universe.
Monsters.
Invasive species. Predatory.
We don't lock them down.
Dang.
Too late.
This looks interesting. This looks hella interesting. And we're back.
Welcome back to IGN's live coverage of Summer of Gaming 2025. We saw Resident Evil Requiem, Stranger Than Heaven, so much more. Let's see what the folks online are talking about using our Lenovo Legion 7i, a laptop designed for everyday use, including live productions like this one. Enjoy a thinner, lighter gaming experience with the latest NVIDIA GeForce RTX 50 series GPU, the advanced performance of the Intel Core Ultra 9 processor, and a breathtaking OLED gaming display. Now, our first tweet comes from Danny O'Dwyer, who says, my favorite trailer of SGF so far is Ill. That's the name of the game, Ill. The game where you can kick zombie babies into barrels and it all has realistic physics. That's gaming, baby. And this game actually stood out to me as well. This is a first-person survival horror game that looked real gross. And that's up my alley.
I agree with that.
We've got, we might have a little exclusive gameplay for that game coming up on IGN soon. Possibly.
Coming up soon?
Well, some exclusive gameplay might
Okay, yeah, sure. do we have any other details on what this game is all about? What the premise is? Just being first person?
Not much for now. Okay. Yeah, not much for now.
Okay. Well, one of the biggest surprises. I mean, this is it.
Ugh.
Whoa, I got like factions of me. Okay. Surprises of the show. Game of Thrones, War for Westeros, a new Game of Thrones game, an RTS.
Yeah.
What's up with all these Game of Thrones games?
There is a lot of Game of Thrones games
There's
this
a lot
year.
of Game of Thrones. One just came out, like King's Road.
Yeah, King's Road, which has been received very.
The mobile game pretending to be a console/PC game.
Yeah.
So this one is an RTS, and it's a cinematic trailer. We get to see the iconic battle between Jon Snow and the White Walker sort of recreated, but this time
That looked so dope,
Jon
to be
Snow is
honest.
turned into a White Walker.
Yeah, that's what it looked
So
like.
I mean, there's a lot of different factions, houses, families in Game of Thrones. You can see how that could work as an RTS. We'd like to see how battles.
Jon Snow is now a White Walker, guys.
In there, so there's going to be hero characters. You know, I can see how this works as an RTS. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, in all seriousness, I love Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth. Those are RTS games, so it's like, not that Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones are a one-to-one, but it's like, it can be done. Like, you can take an IP like this that has a sort of set story and characters and make an interesting strategy game out of it. So
That is true.
I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, I like the
That is true.
IP. Obviously, there are issues with the way the show wrapped up, and everyone is aware of that. But I like the IP, and I like RTS games, so you know there could be something there. I want to know who's making it. If anyone in my ear knows who's making it, let us know. But Michael, how are you feeling about War for Westeros?
I think I used to play a lot of RTS games, and so I feel like there is a niche to be filled with like a good high quality RTS. And I'm kind of of two minds using Game of Thrones for an RTS. It's like, one, that makes sense like conceptually, as y'all said. But then two, whenever maybe I'm just like my brain has been poisoned, where like if you take a big IP, you probably want to make it in a genre that is palatable to a wide audience. And RTS has been like kind of fell by the wayside in terms of its popularity. But hey, I do miss my RTS game, so maybe I'll come to this
Hey, he's not wrong.
wanting a good RTS rather than it coming to it as like, oh, I'm playing another a Game of Thrones game.
Yeah.
So, but like y'all said, I do know who the developer is. Like, when it comes to RTS games, like you really got to nail it right. You can't just like buy the numbers and expect that the IP to carry the weight for it. But I do think there's still room for innovation in the RTS genre, even though we don't see them very often.
Tough critics, but they're right.
What if instead George R. R. Martin got involved in a game that was not about the core Game of Thrones characters? Just let them do some cool exploration, a la Shadow of Mordor.
And they could call it Video Game of Thrones.
Video Game of Thrones, that's funny.
He's busy writing this book apparently, and people are really stressed about that. But you know, I mean, he's had experience with the Elden Ring and stuff, so I mean, there's potential there. I don't know. I'm kind of down with the let's put more Game of Thrones games for some reason, just because.
I mean, to your point, Michael, though,
like
because it's not a appeal to everyone. Like we're going a little more niche here with strategy. That maybe they'll then lean into it, and it'll be a really like hardcore RTS game that happens to be built around an IP that a bunch of people love.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, it's like the Game of Thrones audience are kind of sickos to begin with. So like, you join that RTS sickos, you get like the perfect marriage of sickos who love this genre of fantasy. And like, I get it. I get it. That seems like it could really work.
I was gonna say the flip side is that it could, because it has such appeal, get more people into RTS. Like I'm kind of thinking about it honestly. I'm not an RTS person, but I might play. Yeah. At least rewatch the show.
I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Like, do you guys think yes to more Game of Thrones games, or?
Focus right now. I'm also told that I think it was Wayside Games. Wayside is making it, and they have one other game under their belt, so fairly unknown developer. We're working on that. Okay, another really nice surprise. A game we've been looking forward to, hadn't seen in a long time, was Mina the Hollower, the follow-up for the first new IP in a long time from Shovel Knight. Yes. Shovel Knight, yes. This game looks awesome. It looks like Link's Awakening, like a Game Boy Color game.
I remember I wasn't a big fan of this one.
Put onto my analog pocket.
Yeah.
And that's still the only way I'm gonna play it.
Feels right.
Yeah.
Feels right on Nintendo Switch 2.
Guess like a Donkey Kong vibe.
I've been the Holler for a while now, and so it's good to. I would say it's like Silk Song levels, but it is one of those games that has kind of like taken on a personality of its own because of how much it's been talked about since, and how people are kind of just waiting in the wings for it. But yeah, that 8-bit art style that is like animated and put in motion to such high fidelity is like that's such a smart move. It's adorable, but it's also very distinct. It's not just trying to be like
pretty
all
cute.
of us worlds. Like they made Shovel Knight. They know what they're doing with that. So like taking that core idea and then making something a little bit different with the new IP and all that. Like I'm super into this.
I just love when developers will go for a vibe while putting sort of technological limitations on themselves. Of course, you're like, okay, how do we innovate our design within this? And this looks like what would have been a AAA original NES game back in the day. And yeah, it's there's just you can tell from this trailer there's a lot here. Like you can tell there is some serious depth. There is a lot of content. And it's they're staking claim to
a lot of content.
They're the first ones. We'll see if anybody else tries to decide they want to ship something on Halloween as well. Every year, somebody's going for that Halloween.
That is true.
This year, it's them.
Great to finally have a release date for that one. What was this? What was the Wu-Tang game? Wu-Tang Rise of the
Deceiver. Yeah.
That was a surprise to me. You
Me
knew
too.
About this?
I say we may have more at IGN.
That was cool.
Yeah. No, it's an action RPG themed around the Wu-Tang Clan. Members of the Wu-Tang Clan are missing, and you're supposed to find them. And I am under the impression that you were going to get some kind of powers when you find them. That's what my sneaking suspicion is. We'll find out more. But the idea of you have like a character that you create, and there's co-op too. So it's an action RPG, and you have to find the members of the Wu-Tang Clan. And like it's been so long since we've had a Wu-Tang game with the challenge style back on the PS1 all the way. So I'm kind of surprised that this is the first one we've seen in like 25, 26 years.
Right.
And the thing I'm most curious about is like the gameplay can be like decent, it can be solid, right? But the idea of integrating the Wu-Tang Clan there and using their music for the soundtrack, like in the trailer, you hear with this arrangement or remix of Cream, which is, and it's like it's kind of it's got that dark tone you hear in like a remix for a horror movie trailer, whatever. But it's like, ooh, what if they the discography for the discography for Wu Tang is so wide, and like if they're able to like wield that in a really smart way, like I think that would be enough to get me in. But I want to see how the members of the Wu Tang Clan are involved in this story or involved in the game at all. Like, there's a lot of questions still, but yeah, this is kind of a surprise, and like I'm not
big surprise.
I'm not gonna say no to
big
this one.
surprise.
I mean, the very brief glimpse of, I think it was gameplay in there, looks cool.
Yeah,
Really cool art style.
Yeah, it's like a stop motion animation to it as well.
It looks really cool. Did that do anything for you, Ryan?
I am not well versed in the ways of the Wu-Tang Clan, so I
wouldn't say that I am either. But just that looks like something that
I'll
could
sit
be fun.
back and give it a try for sure.
Could be fun to play. Well, Ryan, I know one game.
Sounding like a hater there, Ryan.
Yeah, it looked like
split
fiction, but with Legos, and you're sort of using Lego pieces to traverse and solve environmental puzzles. It also visually looks great, which granted, most of the Lego games do.
Visually is what I was gonna say.
But yeah, this, I don't know. It just something about it just looks completely endearing and alluring, and I can't wait to play it with my 13-year-old daughter, who we've played like all of Joseph Ferris's games
I
together.
said the same thing. This looks so cute.
This game, but yeah, this just looks great. I wasn't expecting this, and now I just seriously cannot wait to play this.
Yeah, I got weirdly emotional during this trailer. I don't know what it is.
I know.
They're so cute. They're like their big eyeball, and they're like working
one by one blocks.
And they're also just like nostalgic, you know.
A lot of like
Legos.
the aesthetic, and then
we all played with them.
Has a very serene vibe and atmosphere. That it's just kind of like really sweet.
Yeah.
And it's really cute. It's so adorable. Oh my gosh. Oh,
that was my exact reaction.
I will absolutely be playing this with my twin sister.
Yeah,
like, I am so excited. It's really cute. I'm also just so happy we're getting this massive resurgence of co-op games. Yeah. Even if it's optional co-op, like even with the Wu-Tang game, like in this is obviously you have to probably do co-op, but it's just nice to have that recognition that we want to play games together. It's not necessarily be against each other and play those games.
Yeah, it's such a smart use of the Lego IP also.
Yeah.
Like this isn't a traditional game that you would see or whatever. Like
very true.
It's a creative use of the IP, but I'm like curious how those gameplay mechanics work as you're like linking things together and building more blocks together to get through the paths and all that. So, but yeah, from what we've seen so far, it's like this is really creative, and I think that's what's important.
And apparently, it has the split fiction and It Takes Two style friend pass. Really, by one copy, good to see them play online together.
Wow.
That's an industry trend I can get behind.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay, another one that really stood out to me was End of Abyss, and I wondered if this caught Ryan's eye, because we were talking about Inside earlier, and this kind of looks like a top-down Inside to me. Like maybe
first of all, it's like you give me a sort of narratively driven game with a beautiful, unique art style. And a story that's told in some unique way, and I'm in. And this checked all those boxes for me. I love the visual aesthetic here. The gameplay that we saw looked really good. I mean, you can see just the color palette, the lighting, everything about this is like, I just want to see more. I want to play more.
That is true.
And I'll tell you, I mean, it's Epic Publishing, so I think this is presumably an Unreal Engine 5 thing, and I'll be honest, like what's shipped in Unreal Engine 5 so far hasn't quite lived up to the potential of the tech demos that we've seen. But I mean, this is like a smaller scale game, and it's obviously a smaller scope, but technologically, like I'm loving what they're doing with the tech here, and I think this has got serious like indie darling potential to it. I mean, to the point where Epic believed in it enough to want to publish it themselves, so that's a good sign.
That one's coming 2026. And then another one that we really liked the look of was Out of Words. And that's one that kind of has the stop motion. Another split fiction like, I think.
Yeah.
It needs to be another co-op game, right? Sort of stop motion art style.
I do remember that one.
What did you guys think of this one?
another Ryan game. It's so cute. A little critter. We love a good little critter. But yeah, again, more co-op. It's like that's exactly what we want with a cool art style.
The art is amazing on this one. It really just draws you in.
It's tough these days with the abundance of creativity in the industry to make a game look like something we've never seen before.
100%.
Well, this looks like something I've never seen before. Not that there haven't been other stop motion kind of games before in the animation sense, but like this would never be mistaken for another game in a beautiful way. You're like, oh,
very
yeah,
true.
Of course, this is what it is. And so, yeah, if the puzzles can live up and the stories can live up to the potential of the visuals, then this could be another one that I'm eagerly waiting to play through at IGN.
Stop motion's kind of another trend that's been really popping up. Like this, or even looking like it has a sort of stop motion style if it's not hand done stop motion. Like they're all kind of mimicking that animation, and it's really cool.
There's the little
That's
guy
true.
in Death Stranding too.
Very true.
Yeah, the little puppy. He's the only one in stop motion. That's a trend. I also like the trend of co-op games.
Yes, that's great.
There's always been co-op games, but like the rate at which we are seeing them now, I think
it's a lot more now.
Light of Haze Light.
Well, it's when Split Fiction sells 20 million It Takes Two. It Takes Two. Thank you. Sells 20 million copies. That's gonna get a lot of green lights going at publishers for other co-op games. And
100%.
We get to enjoy the fruits of that.
Very true.
All right, we need to take a quick break. But first, I want to remind everyone there are still things happening and plenty more big summer reveals still to come. We've got tons of cool stuff to show off on Saturday.
We'll be here for it all, guys. We'll be here for it all.
Showcase. You can join us for live pre and post show coverage of that right here on IGN. Stay tuned.
We'll be here for it all. I'm excited for some of these new games, for real.
IGN Summer of Gaming is presented by Nintendo Switch 2. All together, anytime, anywhere.
As the Marv show revealed to us on the last stream, he's really excited for RE4.
And Max Scoville. Howdy. And we are here today to talk about all things Nintendo Switch 2, Mario Kart World, and Brian, I know you've gotten your hands on it.
Yes, I love the Nintendo Switch 2. Mario Kart World is so much fun, and I cannot wait to play more. I'm counting down the days.
Kim, have you
I
heard
have mine
about
ordered. I'm waiting for it.
Name is just cow.
There's a cow. You can be a cow. You can play Mario Kart as a cow.
That's crazy.
Its name is Cow.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, I've been playing it all morning. Honestly, it's a blast. It's so much fun.
You've been playing what this morning?
Nintendo Switch 2.
There's a Nintendo Switch 2 system in the office right now while we're sitting here just talking about it.
Two of them, actually, in my office as we speak. Can't wait to get back to them, but let's get right into it. Kim, let's start with you. What are you most excited for?
Okay, first of all, I just can't believe we're finally getting a new generation of Nintendo Switch hardware. Everything I've seen about Mario Kart World, new and returning characters, new modes, I just can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I agree. I love Mario Kart. I'm dying to learn about all of the different modes in Mario Kart World.
Yes! Later, suckers.
Well, Brian, Mario Kart World has all the awesome game modes you know and love, like Grand Prix, Versus Race, Time Trials, and so much more.
That's wild still.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. One of the coolest new things for me is Free Roam mode, which really lets you experience how vast this new interconnected world is.
What up, what up?
There is so much stuff I can't wait to discover, like collectibles, beach medallions, question panels, and hundreds of P-switches, which activate awesome new challenges that put your skills to the test.
That's really cool and informative. Damien, do any other hosts on this AGN panel have a questions? Max?
Yes! A question just occurred to me. Spontaneous!
Guy speaks like a vampire.
In Mario Kart.
Blah, blah, blah.
You think anyone's gonna notice we're gone? Don't worry about it. I got it covered.
Wario has powers that go beyond.
It's not about power, it's about speed.
I have the power of Wario inside of me.
Alright, which course we win? Well, what course do you want to lose on? Toad's Factory.
Yeah.
There's 24 driver Grand Prix
He
races.
came with the
so you can race
violence.
across 4 interconnected courses, including racing the distance between each course.
Nah, I'm excited for this one.
Coin shells. comic, and dash food, which allows you to change into cool outfits.
I just ate a burger and I got a new outfit.
Would y'all get it?
What? And to
If you don't already have it.
Right now, right here.
Actually, who has it?
Another exciting new addition is Knockout Tour, where up to 24 drivers race through back-to-back courses. If you don't place high enough by the time you reach each of the 5 checkpoints, you're out. So, as you can tell, the world is your racetrack and there's plenty to discover. Any final thoughts, Kim?
Wow, that's so cool, Damon.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool, Damon.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool, Damon.
Knocked out.
Booyah! Knocked out!
She's good.
Yep. The next evolution of the Nintendo Switch system is here. Enjoy your games on a bigger 1080p screen or connect to a TV and play in up to 4K resolution plus frame rates of 120 frames per second with compatible games and displays. Don't miss out on Mario Kart World, which is exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 system.
Yes. Are you guys in my office?
And I'm back, right from my office, and we're back this Sijin Summer of Gaming. We're recapping Summer Game Fest. There are a ton of games shown, including Mouse PI for Hire. What's the hype level on this one? There are a couple Cuphead-like in terms of aesthetics at this show. This one's a first-person shooter, I think.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah.
I like this trend of this old-timey style. I don't actually know what it's called. Do you know what it's called, Ryan? Like the animation style.
Oh, it's supposed to be like Garden Hose. What they call it?
It's like Steamboat early era.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but it's obviously popping up everywhere, and this is giving obviously big bending in the ink machine vibes, and I love it. Like I just really want to play it. And I know it's been on the top of the Steam charts for the wish list for a long time now too.
If you're gonna do an art style like this, you have to go all the way in, and they clearly seem to be doing that. And yeah, like if a Cuphead-looking first-person shooter in black and white. I mean, I don't know anything about the mechanics of this game yet, but just from what bits we've seen, and this is hardly the first trailer for this, but it looks totally like my kind of game, where it's a unique-looking first-person shooter that is.
I don't know what they're on about.
I like that it looks like it's having fun, but also taking what it's doing seriously. Like I think we saw another game that kind of had a similar style that just felt gross. Yeah, I think that's exactly what you said. It was like, oh, that just feels gross. I'm like, yeah, and it feels like it's just playing with this, like, oh, look, this old-time cartoon that we're making fun of. It's like,
this doesn't look like it was greenlit just because the copyright on Steamboat Willie went into the public domain.
Yeah, exactly. I'm being told this is actually a Metroidvania. It's interesting. Not too many.
That is more interesting, actually.
Metroidvania, although there's Metroid Prime, of course, Metroid Prime 4 coming later this year.
Interesting.
No big Nintendo announcements at the show this year, Summer Game Fest. So I'm still waiting on the release date.
Yeah, that was a kind of a disappointment.
Ryan, did you get to play Deadpool VR?
I did.
Yo,
actually.
the Deadpool VR.
Right now on IGN. Cool. I talked about some of the most interesting things that I learned about it. If your ears were not deceiving you, that is like, wait, that sounded like for Ryan Reynolds kind of sounds like Neil Patrick Harris.
It was Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris, and he does a pretty good job from what. So I played about 20, 30
It was hilarious.
Of this from an super early section, so there was a lot of tutorial elements to it. But when my demo ended, because at just one point it just kind of faded to a title screen. I was just getting comfortable and was like, no, I want to play more of this. So
sick.
Yeah, like you might not immediately think about Deadpool as a VR game.
Yeah.
Apparently, the last Deadpool game was a not super great game that Activision published in 2013.
Yeah. I remember that.
So it's been a minute, but
it was horrendous.
Swords and guns. Obviously, you can grab those off your back anytime you like, or out of your hip holsters on the guns. And it leans into Deadpool, so you saw the kind of doing like enemy heads as a kebab, and then you can fling those heads at guys. If your own arm gets cut off, yes, it will regenerate, but you can pick it up
and toss it.
The severed arm with the still attached arm.
Real Deadpool style.
And beat guys with it.
100%.
It's fully leaning into the violence. You know, they've got plenty of R-rated jokes in there, and we were talking about VR.
It's not for the faint of heart.
Like Meta, I have to give them credit. Like they are really trying in the VR space. They gave us Batman
For
Arkham
real.
Shadow,
For
which
real.
was really good
It was.
last year, and now Deadpool VR this year, which hopefully will be good again. I really enjoyed what I played, so yeah, my tip of the cap to them for
real.
continuing to try and push
MetaQuest,
VR gaming.
They're doing a lot.
In a way that I just feel like Sony is not doing at all.
Oh dang, he had to go for
I'm
Sony.
telling you right now, whenever the next
Shots
Deadpool
fired.
comes out, years from now, there'll be a Neil Patrick Harris Deadpool. I think Ryan Reynolds would totally do that. Okay,
That'd
as
be
promised, we got the new trailer for Mafia: The Old Country. Ryan, you're saying you're a Mafia fan. To this new, you're
So am I.
already excited, invested in Mafia: The Old Country. New trailer do anything for you?
No, just because I'm just ready to play the game. Yeah. It's like just.
We've been waiting long enough.
I like that they've made it explicitly clear that this is not a full open world game the way that they tried to go with Mafia 3, because like I was saying on the pre-show, 3 just didn't grab me the way that 1 and 2 did. But 1 and 2
I agree there.
were really, really good stories told linearly within an open world, but it wasn't an open world game, if that makes sense. If you played,
not the sense
I kind of get what he's saying.
exactly. And so with this one, just going back to that 1 and 2, like, yeah, we are here to tell a really good linear story, and I love that it's a prequel, and I love that it's set in I believe it's Sicily. I am all for this, and you know, it's the wait is short. Like, this thing's out in early August, right? So in like 2 months exactly, we're playing this game.
Yeah, that is true. It's very near, guys.
Yes, I am a big Mafia fan.
I'll be streaming it for you guys, by the way.
When I was a wee little boy, I should not be playing violent video games like that. But the thing I love about Mafia 1 is that, like you said, it's an open world, and at first glance at the time, you'd be like, oh, they're trying to make GTA. It's like, no, that's not what Mafia was trying to be. Yeah, it takes place.
Y'all will be one of the first to see that game live in play, because I'm getting it exactly when it comes out.
Back in 2002, I think that was when it came out originally on PC.
The ending of that game was...
the ending of that game messed me up. I played when I was like 14, 15. I watched it off of it.
Play Mafia Definitive Edition if you're listening to us going, oh, this sounds pretty cool. Go play the remake.
Oh, that story. I learned how to play the theme song to Mafia 1 on violin too, so
that's wild.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
dang.
I really like Mafia 1. 2 was a continuation of that. And again, it was not like, hey, there's a bunch of side quests to do. There's like this big open world to explore. It's like, no, you're here for a very specific kind of story.
Yeah.
And those games are amazing. So I do like 3 a lot. I know 3 gets a lot of hate for like how
it does. It does.
And that when it became a traditional open world, it didn't really understand what makes a good open world click. But that again, like they always do with the Mafia series, the storytelling of Mafia 3 was some of the best when it came out in 2016, and it touched on things that a lot of storytellers are too afraid to touch on, because you have to do that story right. And Mafia 3 was one of the rare games that touched on very, touchy subject matter. Growing up in 1960s in the American South, that is like Lincoln Clay.
Like it is, man.
One of my favorite characters in games. That story really hit, but was kind of a chore to play through. So hopefully, Old Country, like they understand where they were kind of missing with Mafia 3, and I have hope for this one.
Have they said with
you and me
Mafia
both?
Country, day 1, can we play it in Italian?
Ooh,
Italian.
I sure hope so.
I sure hope so.
I like to play games, whatever the original language is.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what I do.
It's interesting.
Okay, another good surprise. We should talk about Atomic Heart 2. Atomic Heart was
Two years ago. Yeah,
2 years ago now.
2 years ago.
Already? Wow, time flies.
Dang, I didn't even realize it had already been 2 years.
So someone who's played it.
I have played it.
Tell us your impressions of the trailer for Atomic Heart 2.
Atomic Heart, going into the first one, you're like, oh, they're trying to do a sort of Bioshock-esque kind of game. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, I'll take one of those. But there was something like missing about the way that world was built. It felt a little hollow. Like there was a good idea there, and
These guys really do know what they're talking about. You guys are getting a lot of gaming knowledge here.
It just kind of was like, it felt like, I don't want to say a tech demo, but it felt like a proof of concept. Now, so when I see the Atomic Heart 2 trailer, I'm like, oh, maybe that first game kind of was a proof of concept. Because this trailer is bonkers, man. Yeah. I didn't expect a sequel quite yet. but then a sequel at this scale.
I shall be streaming this one too, guys.
In terms of like how they're building that world, traversal, the places you go, the tone of this trailer too is
It's about to be a fun summer
as well. But there's still that similar kind of retro futuristic aesthetic that's going on with it. So if this is them building on the first game in like to that scale, I'm curious to see what it ends up being. But I think I am more bought into the idea of an Atomic Heart sequel after seeing this.
Look at that, so clean, so clean.
So yeah, but I will say this game probably ain't coming out for another half a year.
I had two thoughts when I watched this. The first thought was, wow, this looks genuinely fantastic.
It looks sick, so sick.
Clearly a larger scale, larger scope going on. But that was the second thought was, there is no way, given that it's only been 2 years since the first one, there's no way we're playing this
anytime
within the
soon.
Next 3 years, probably.
Shit.
Most likely. That's what modern development cycles tell us, to not expect this anytime soon.
Man.
So okay, like I'll just file this nice reveal trailer away in my brain for a while until
it's ready.
Get much closer to the game being done.
I mean, it looks like they're doing some cool world building. You know, there's like working with some interesting ideas. So I don't know, maybe
Nah, it looks so
check
sick.
this one out, and maybe the team learned a lot from working on the first one and able to really achieve the vision that they had for the first one. Exactly. Okay, it's time to pick our favorite game from the show from Summer Game Fest. Miranda?
Favorite games, all right.
Favorite thing you saw today?
Let's go.
Cool. Let's think there for a second.
Okay.
So what stands out about that? What gets you excited?
Yeah, so I think that with this showcase, it felt like a lot of reminders of things we already know about and sort of surfacing things that are coming soon. And this one was like a reminder I needed because I kind of forgot that it got announced. And getting an official title and getting to see again more of that moodiness, hearing more of the jazz, really just did it for me. And I think again, having been a person who wants to be into Yakuza, like I really want to get in there, I really want to be that person, but it just does feel so impenetrable. Them doing this and saying, hey, this can be our handshake and it can be phenomenal potentially. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down for that. Like, let's go. So I think that really stuck out for me and I wasn't expecting it. And again, this was, I think, one of the more exciting, revisiting something that's already been announced and giving us a different look that we haven't seen before.
The Yakuza games usually try to do a pretty good recreation of a real world.
They actually do. They really do.
They haven't explicitly said that here, so what would you prefer? Like a real, an authentic recreation of Tokyo, say, from that time, or like a new fictional city set in Japan?
I would probably say new fictional city set in Japan, just because it would give them a little bit more room to play with whatever their ambitions are for this, whether it's revisiting a bits of history and if they want to pull different bits of like local history from different places and kind of cram them in together to explore them a little bit more. Rather than having to travel, that would be cool. But also, I mean, I'm happy with either, really.
I mean,
I also miss Japan, so.
Setting I do too.
Yeah.
Setting in 1943, they're going to have to deal with war stuff in there too.
Yeah.
Like that's going to have to be a big part of it. Okay, Ryan, favorite game of the show?
In the interest of not just saying this,
I'm interested to know.
I'm going to go with the Lego game. Who's
No way. He chose the Lego game.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a really cute game.
Like we already said,
it was so cute.
Fiction vibes. Visually, it looked great. Just the charm of it. I mean, just repeating everything I was already saying about this earlier, but this is the one that is sticking with me, along with the RGG game.
It is a super cute game, super nostalgic. Exactly what I said the first time I seen it.
Inevitably, what happens with these is, like, that was a long show. That was a 2-hour show, which is great that we get all these trailers, we get a lot of these reveals, but inevitably, most people will not remember a lot of these games,
I will.
Which is
I streamed the entire thing.
It's nice you can go on IGN and revisit them and everything. Oh yeah, that one. But this is jumped out at me, and this is what's going to stick with me.
And I'm making a list of my favorite ones too that I'm gonna be posting.
Like I'm super itching to play this game.
Yeah, same here.
So it's always gonna be pinned.
Sorry, I gotta say, Stranger Than Heaven. I know, Miranda already.
Now you guys can see all the games I'm gonna be streaming this coming year.
How happy I am to see RGG Studios do a new IP, a new game, and that is still playing into their strengths. Like they know what they're good at, and they've done it many, many times. And so this is their opportunity to still do what they're good at, but in a completely different context. So there's a lot of potential here for them to break away from Like a Dragon and build something new. And that's what I'm getting out of this. But there's yeah, like I've said already, their melodramatic storytelling is just unmatched. The thing
That
that
is true.
I'm thinking about is
That is very
they
true.
always have a comedic edge to them, though. And this looks like it is playing it pretty.
Their
serious.
stories are so intense, man.
About the ways in which that will be injected because it is one of their strengths. And if that's not present in this, then I'm like, man, you kind of missed out. I'm like, why? One of the reasons why I come to their games, even Judgment had a lot of that stuff in it. So, yeah, I can't stricter that, man. This is such a cool idea. I just wanna finally see what this is for myself because it feels like they're doing the greatest hits of a lot of the mechanics that we've seen from their games.
I agree with
then,
that.
Yeah, doing a completely new IP is and that like you mentioned, playing it in 1943 is such a contentious time. Yeah. So the thing I'm paying attention to as I move forward, paying attention to this game,
It's
is
a time of
what
war.
are they trying to say with this game? Is it just like, hey, I'm a hard-boiled detective in 1940s Japan, or is it going to tie into like the history of that time? Because that is another thing they are also very good at with Yakuza Ishin, telling a story of that time period in 1800s in Japan, and a lot of the Yakuza stories are political stories where they tie it
Very
into
true.
actual socioeconomic dynamics
Very
and
true.
in the time that they take place. So again, another one of their strengths, but I feel like they're playing.
I've made some crazy
they're getting
connections
some
on that.
territory where they need to be a little bit more, on point with the stories that they tell. So whichever way it goes, I just need to see it.
Cool. I'm gonna go with Acts of Blood as my game of the show. The Raid and the Raid 2 are two of my favorite movies ever, and I really like Sifu. So like mechanically, it seems to be most similar to Sifu, and then it also seems to be heavily inspired by the Raid. I think I can pretty safely say the developers are heavily inspired by the Raid here. And it's funny, like the Raid, the original Raid, is basically Double Dragon, the movie. It's a very video game like premise, and all the action is very gamey. So it's cool to see that. I love the combat, the hyper violent combat there. Ryan mentioned the bone crunching, and they even got the real fast, the fast stabby stab, which I actually haven't seen that often in video games. And this also has a very cool story that it's an indie Indonesian team building this game. Jeff Keighley mentioned this. Like looking at this, knowing that this is an indie game today in the year 2025, that's awesome. That's super exciting for just all the possibilities to come for small teams to make games that look like this and
Yeah,
even better.
I was surprised to find out that only 10 guys, like 10 guys made this entire game. This whole thing was made by 10 guys.
If something you were
I thought that was
hoping to see
impressive.
today, there are plenty more chances. Each day of IGN Live will kick off with a massive block of trailers and exclusive clips from upcoming games, shows, and movies. And there's still the Xbox Game Showcase to look forward to on Sunday.
And we'll be here for it.
Hands-on with some of these games. We'll have a ton of playable demo stations at IGN Live, plus panels, giveaways, and
We'll
all
be
sorts
here
of fun
for it, guys.
stuff. Tickets are still available at IGN.com/live. So get yourself to downtown LA. We'd love to see you here in the Magic Box at the Reef. If you can't be in here in person, no sweat, because we're streaming the whole thing. You can still get in on some of the action.
I'll be
Thanks
here
watching.
for it.
We will see you next time.
Thanks for watching, guys, and that's it. And that's it. That's it for the summer of gaming, guys. Now you guys have it. Now you guys know all the hot new up and coming games, and you guys know what games we're gonna be streaming over here. And I'm glad I could bring you guys all that information. There you have it. And that's it. I'm out.